Hi, how are you? Happy holidays. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it's mid-December already. I wanted to tell you a little bit today about my trip to New York City. I take an annual trip there every year to see the Rockefeller Center. I've been doing it for, several years, minus some COVID time, obviously. But I really like to kick off the holiday season by going to see the Rockefeller Tree lit. I can remember as a kid, my mom would always put on the special that they have on TV of the lighting of the tree with all the music and the celebration and the awe of the vast size of the Rockefeller Center tree. And so it's always been a thing for me as I was growing up. So now as an adult in the last, I'd say probably 10 years, I have made it an annual thing. Well, tried to make it an annual thing. Obviously, less COVID and a couple of other tragic things that happened that I couldn't make it a year or two. But long story short, I like to go see the Rockefeller Tree every year. It kicks off the holiday season for me. It gets me in the spirit. New York City in the Christmas time is just gorgeous and festive and bustling and all the things that are Christmas in New York City. So I just love it. So I took my boys, I took my oldest son and my youngest son. I have two stepsons that didn't come with, but my biological kids came with me, and then my oldest son's girlfriend, Kennedy is her name, and she came with us this year. And last year we stayed at the Omni Berkshire, and I had seen this one suite as my son and I, last year I went with my husband and my youngest son. So my son and I were going to the gym last year, and on the way I saw a terrace, and you could see St. Patrick's Cathedral from this terrace. And I was like, I want to stay there. So I made it a point March of last year. I called the Omni, made my reservation for the Rockefeller suite, and it was, so I'd had it reserved since March, and I was so excited. Now, I thought I could see the tree from there, but you cannot. There's too many buildings. Hello, it's New York City. But the Omni Berkshire is like literally 5-7 minute walking distance to the Rockefeller Center. So it's perfect location for me. It's also 5-7 minutes from Times Square. It's just in a really good location. It's like between 5th and Madison, on 52nd Street, if you're familiar. I am directionally challenged, so I have to have a map everywhere I go, but if that puts it on the map for you, then there you go. So we left and we took JetBlue from Tampa on a Thursday afternoon, and thank goodness everything was on time. We took a JetBlue flight into LaGuardia Airport. Now from Tampa, JetBlue flies to both JFK and LaGuardia. LaGuardia was closest to the hotel. So we get on the plane, everything's fine, our flight's on time. We get there, we get into a taxi, and off we go. And of course, it's New York City on a Thursday evening, and the traffic was just crazy. And it gets dark relatively early there. I think the sun sets there at like 4:30. So it gets dark pretty early. So we landed in the dark, but the lights driving into the city were just awesome. And our hotel room was on the 15th floor. We had a gorgeous view of the Rockefeller Center. Not of the Rockefeller Center, I'm sorry. We had a gorgeous view of St. Patrick's Cathedral. And it was just, I was so happy because last couple of years they've been renovating it and stuff. And so there's been a lot of scaffolding around. And this year it was just fabulous. I love to see the cathedral, and to see it from our hotel room, from our terrace, was just amazing. A little bit about our hotel room. The Omni Berkshire is an amazing hotel. The Rockefeller suite would be perfect in the springtime. It has the majority of the square footage that you get from that suite is terrace. So it has a vast terrace with a couch, some seats, gorgeous view of the cathedral. You could tell that there had been a party or something in the suite because there was like balloon ribbons on the doors and stuff. But it was too cold for us to sit out on the terrace, so we couldn't enjoy that part of the room. So it was a very long, narrow room. It had a king-size bed with doors and a smaller bathroom, and then it had a sofa and a TV, and the sofa was a pull-out couch for my oldest son and his girlfriend. So next year, I will not get that suite again. It was a lesson learned. Definitely do it in the spring if that's something that interests you. But I wouldn't spend the money on that suite again because it just wasn't functional for us, for 4 people. So that being said, it was beautiful. And the Omni is a gorgeous hotel. So that night, we went out to get some food and see the tree. We saw the tree first night, obviously. And so that was awesome and kicked off the trip with a bang. And then we went to Bill's Burgers and Beers or something like that. I'll leave a picture. I took a picture of the napkin. I had actually made reservations for this restaurant because it's supposed to have one of the best burgers in the city. So I had actually made reservations for Bill's on Saturday night, but we ended up going there on Thursday night. So it was all good, delicious meal. Walked around and then got a good night's sleep. We got up Friday morning, had a leisurely morning, got some coffee in the room. We went to Lillie's Victorian establishment for lunch. The decorations in Lillie's establishment are absolutely gorgeous. We went to the Times Square location. I believe they also have a Union Square location. We went to the Times Square location, and I'll put some pictures of some of the decorations in here. It was gorgeous and definitely worth a visit. Unfortunately, the food wasn't as we expected in the service. The guy was just in the weeds. If you've waited tables, you know he was so over his head. So our service wasn't stellar, but definitely worth to go, swing by there, get a drink at the bar or something, or have a cup of coffee. They do serve high tea there. So we saw some ladies having tea, which would be cool too, and probably a little bit better of an experience than trying to have like a normal lunch there. But definitely worth a go-see for the decorations. So from there, we went ice skating at Rockefeller Center. It's the first time I had ever done it, and it was so cool. And let me tell you, they have this thing run like a well-oiled machine. So you buy your tickets in advance, you reserve a time, they queue you in line. You don't go in before your reservation time. They queue you in line once 3 o'clock hits, and I'm talking on the money, 3 o'clock on the money. They let us in, we went down, they check your tickets, that you go get your skates, go into the locker room, put on your skates, put your shoes in a locker. You can't carry a bag on the ice, obviously, so we had just little like shoulder bags. So we put all our shoes in the locker, and they give you a sticker. The sticker indicates what your time slot was. So they'll call your sticker color when it's time for you to get off the ice. So we went on, skated for about 20 minutes, then they Zambonied the ice. So that was cool to see. I mean, we go to hockey games, so we've seen it, but it was kind of cool to see and like just enjoy the flags and the waterfall and all of that stuff. So, and we actually got an extra 20 or 30 minutes of skate time too. So we had black stickers because we were a 3 o'clock time slot. So we skated, it was fun, music playing, kids everywhere, young and old people. It was just so much fun to see everybody trying to skate, and some people were really good and some people were terrible. And the little kids, they had these little penguin things for them to hold on to so they wouldn't fall. It was just such an amazing time. And then they call your sticker color. You go in, take off your skates, drop them at the thing, and then you're in, what do they call that? 30 Rock in the building. And they have like restaurants downstairs where you can grab food and stuff. But as you're on your way out of the locker room area, there's a wall, and I'll leave a picture, one of these sides, I'll leave a picture of us So when you go out, you take off your sticker and you stick it on the wall, and it looks like a rainbow. It's super cool. So I'll leave a picture of us at that wall too. So we went there, and then we just kind of walked around the city. We went to see the Saks windows, which were absolutely gorgeous. And then we went to, actually I take that back. We saw the Saks windows the next day. So I'll show you pictures of that in a second. That night, so after skating, we were exhausted. So we went back to the room, got showered and stuff. And I had made reservations at the steak place called Smith & Wollensky in right outside of Times Square. And we walked there. It was like a 15-20 minute walk from the hotel, and had an amazing steak dinner. And it's so cool for me being a Florida girl when everything is so like open and spacious and all the things. And you go into New York and it's this low ceiling, super cozy, warm vibe. Everybody's kind of on top of each other with their coats, and they did have a coat check, but we just kept ours. But the vibe of it was just like so amazing. And I think this Smith & Wollensky is the one where Andy went to get Miranda's steak in the movie The Devil Wears Prada. I think this is the Smith & Wollensky. I'm gonna fact check myself, but I'm pretty sure this is the same one. So that was kind of cool for me, because I've seen The Devil Wears Prada like, I don't know, hundreds of times. It's ridiculous at this point. I can quote the lines verbatim. It's crazy. But so we did that. That was all Friday night. Saturday, we got up, had a leisurely morning. That's when we went to see the windows. We went, where did we have lunch? I don't even remember where we had lunch that day. Oh, we had lunch at Fig and Olive, which was on the same street as our hotel. Fig and Olive, gorgeous little restaurant off the beaten path. It was actually right across the street, like kind of catty corner from the Omni. Great food, great service, great atmosphere, upstairs, decorated gorgeously, very simple but beautiful. And then we went and walked around the city. We went to Zara, we went to Aritzia, we went to Anthropology, we went to the Nike store for my boys. They have like a huge 5-story Nike store there. And then we went to Saks and saw the Dior windows and all of that. It was gorgeous. I'll leave some pictures. It was so crowded on Saturday though. I'm telling you, the city was a bustle on Saturday. I mean, the whole time actually, but Saturday even more so during the day. The foot traffic was almost as bad as the street traffic. It was just really crowded. So we did that. And then we got an Uber down to the Staten Island Ferry, because if you take the ferry's free, and you go to the Whitehall, I believe it's the Whitehall, I don't know if they call it a port or whatever, where you catch the ferry and then it takes you across to Staten Island, but you can see the Statue of Liberty at night lit up, and then when you're coming back, you can see the whole skyline of the city. Our goal was to get there for sunset so we could see the sun setting behind the city, but we didn't make it there. It was pitch dark by the time we got there, because it was a 45-minute Uber drive from where we were with traffic and stuff. Well worth it though. It's a free ferry ride. You go over, you get off the ferry, you kind of go around the little queue, get back on the ferry and go back across. And on on our way back, we got to stand outside, and it wasn't too cold because we were blocked from the wind, but we got some pretty decent pictures. I'll leave them so you can see, but that is super worth it. And then we went back uptown to go to John's Pizzeria. And I believe John's Pizzeria is one of the oldest pizza places in the city, some of the best pizza. And they were decorated to the nines also. It's a huge 2-story, I believe, pizzeria, but the ceiling is super ornate and just really good food. So we did that Saturday night. And then we were on the hunt for hot chocolate, but it was so late. It was like, so we did that, we got done eating around 10. because it took us an hour. Everything was, you were on a wait to get food basically everywhere Saturday night. So we did that, and then we were on the hunt for hot chocolate as we walked up to Central Park. I had booked us a carriage ride. So we walked up, don't quote me on this, I think it was Fifth, where all the high-end stores were. Prada, Fendi, the Dior store by Central Park, the Apple store. Just, of course, everything was closed because it was so late, but the window shopping was just so gorgeous. So we took a carriage ride at 11:30 through Central Park. Our horse Layla, she was a sweetheart, and our driver, I can't remember her name. I'm gonna call her Beatrice because I think that's what her name was. Maybe it was Bridget, started with the B. I can't not remember, but she was a trip. She talked the entire time, all kinds of just little known facts about New York and the buildings and who lived there, and Marilyn Monroe, and just telling celebrity stories about all the buildings and people who lived in the buildings. We saw the building where the show Only Murders in the Building is filmed, and I guess Steve Martin actually lives in that building. I don't know, that's what she said. I haven't fact checked her, but she was a lot of fun. And then she took us by Tavern on the Green, and oh my gosh, it was just gorgeous. And I'll put some pictures for you to see, but there was a wedding that was just ending. So all these people in these beautiful gowns were coming out of Tavern on the Green because it was late. It was about 12:15 at this point. And so yeah, we did that and never did find hot chocolate, unfortunately, and walked back to hotel. And then Sunday morning, we packed up, got our Uber to LaGuardia, and took our flight was supposed to be 2 o'clock. It ended up getting a little bit delayed because I was glad to get out because a huge rainstorm was rolling into New York that Sunday. And so I was really glad to get out, and our flight wasn't awfully delayed, but we did have to divert a little bit on the way home just to miss the storm because it was a whole line that went up and down the East Coast. So that is a nutshell on our New York City trip. And I am so excited to go back again next year. I think next year I want to go and try and see them actually light the tree. So leave a comment down below if you've actually gone to the lighting of the Rockefeller tree, and or if you love New York City in the Christmas time and the holiday time, and what your favorite thing is to see there. We missed the Macy's windows this year. They always do such an amazing job of doing their window treatments and having like the stories that they tell is super cool. So we missed that this year. Oh, we did also take a stroll through Times Square. So I'll leave a picture of us in Times Square too. And that's always fun and crazy and bananas, but you could see them putting up the 2024 in Times Square. So that was kind of cool to see also. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed my little synopsis of our trip to New York City and gave you some inspiration of things to see or some ideas for a trip that you might want to take there. So that is the summary of my 2023 trip to New York City to visit the Rockefeller Tree. 2 of the things I highly recommend: definitely get your tickets to skate at the Rockefeller Center. That is so worth it. Skating underneath the Christmas tree with the fountain and the music and the people, it just really puts you in the holiday spirit. And take the Staten Island Ferry so you can get some really nice pictures of the Statue of Liberty and the skyline of Manhattan. And so leave a comment down below if you're planning if you have any traditions that you do each year to get you in the holiday spirit. Please give this video a like if you're enjoying this content, and please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.